What's happening? It's round two of the games that I have that are based on horror movies. As we count down, Halloween is just about creeping up on us tonight. We're going to wrap up this review with about three more games later on tonight. Now we're going to get into the 80s. To get into the 80s and the 90s, we're going to have to break out the dog bone, the top loader, and we're going to break into some Nintendo games. First up, kind of an obscure horror movie, more or less campy from the 80s. I don't know why they did a game on it, but it's one I own, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Now this kind of plays like a side scroller. As you can see, 1976, I believe, is probably when the movie came out. Why in 1991, when the game came out, they did a game of it, I have no idea. So basically, you're going to the right really, really slow. You can jump, you can land on the tomatoes. They have different sizes, different shapes. It's kind of got that worms aspect. There's a flying tomato. But that's all I've ever played with it. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Why did they do a game on it? I don't know. And there you have it. Definitely not scary. Definitely not supposed to be scary. That's kind of like the boss. So you can progress to a different level. As you can see, he turns yellow the more times you land on him until eventually he explodes. Next up, another one that I have never seen. So I don't know how much of a horror movie it is, but I'm going to throw it in there. I've seen the original, and they had games, I believe, on Atari and computer for on the original, but Gremlins 2 on Nintendo. I haven't seen this movie yet, but I should. This kind of plays like an overhead shooter, I guess, because you do shoot. Gizmo can jump, and you can shoot whatever he shoots. It's got kind of catchy music. And when you shoot items or shoot these bats and tomatoes and whatnot, they basically drop money. And I fell. You have to get the little balloon to help transport you further into the area. And you take the money and you make an exchange with the guy that sold Gizmo to begin with. So that's Gremlins 2. Now we get into the licensing, the big time licensing of horror movies from the past. And we get into the three sets of some of the horror game makers that people absolutely hate as far as games, and that's LJN. We'll start off with Jaws. Outstanding film, whether it be horror or just film, period. Jaws, great film, seen it many times. Also a very good book. I've read the book. It's worth doing both. Jaws is going to need to be cleaned. That happens, even though I played it last night. So let's jump into Friday the 13th while we wait to get Jaws clean. Now this is Jason Friday the 13th, so it should be Friday the 13th Part 2. Spoiler alert if you've seen the film, which I've seen the franchise, of course, and saw the film back in the day. Jason was not the main killer in the first film. I won't tell you who it was, I'll let you watch it. But for Nintendo, scary little mask scene, they want to definitely capitalize on the main character, Jason. And from what I can tell of it, it's kind of like a role-playing game. You pick a counselor, you gotta light these things on fire by going through the map area. You get attacked by zombies, you can shoot them with something, you can jump. And I have the directions that have a map and stuff, and obviously, okay, so I can go probably that way. Sounds like I got a lighter. Sounds like a kid's in trouble somewhere, probably from Jason. Doesn't seem really scary. It's not really dark. The music's kind of, I guess, scary sounding. But that's Friday the 13th. Now we got Jaws clean. Let's try Jaws. At least Jaws has a cool cover. Friday the 13th, I don't know. They got them 90s graphics on there. Kind of sounds like Tecmo Bowl. Pretty bright and graphic. Yep. So you're a boat. There's water. You hit something. You go in the water, and it becomes a shooter. You pick up these items to give you points, and I know there's shells that can turn into money, and probably crabs that turn into money. What I found, if you stay on one level like this, those people will always come from the same level you're on. Just kind of got to watch out for the jellyfish. Stay down here, you shoot some things. Not bad graphics. At least the little diver has goggles on, right? He's not making any air bubbles, but come on now. At least the ship makes ripples in the water. You go around till you hit something and you go in the water. Now, I believe you can turn in these shells, like I mentioned before, for items. There is a shop that I saw down the way that gave me a Jaws finder when I played this before. Doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the movie, but what a great movie. I'm actually going to finish binge watching the Jaws franchise tonight, being Halloween. I'm picking up with Jaws 3 that I haven't seen in years, which was 3D, of course, in the theater back in the day. That was a big deal. And wrap it up with some Jaws Revenge. Oh, and yeah, these are these little bonus screens where kind of like Galaga. Where you time dropping these bombs on these jellyfish. And that's Jaws. Now we'll go to the last and probably consider the better one of the group. Gremlins 2 might be, and that's My Elm Street. At least it has a nice little photo to it. Again, made by LJN. Definitely looks darker. Freaky little Freddy. Play up to 4 players, and then here we go. You start with this guy who's got this stubby little punch and an okay jump that gets annoying. And I thought you could go into this house right away, but maybe you can't. So we're going to keep going to the right. At least it's dark. And I think that timer means... Oh, crap. Turn around. The timer means the landscape shifts, I think, and then Freddy comes out or something. Here we go. In this area, collect the bones. There's 12 in this area you can see on the map. I don't have the directions for this one. Kind of becomes a platformer, jumper. Oh, crap. Oh, love it when I don't hit the jump button. You know, you're fighting spiders and stuff just like in My Elm Street. Now it goes into a dream world. Probably a time thing. They're definitely cooler creatures in the dream world, little ghosts. But you can switch to the girl, who I think is much better because she shoots knives. But you can only get her in the dream world unless I gotta find directions. Kind of like the little big old Freddy's head. Missing 3 bones. There. And I guess we want to go down. You think? Now it's more of the same. Like I said, I think she's better because she shoots projectiles. Or is he just a stubby little punch? I don't think you want to get the boombox. That's going to turn me back into the guy. I'd rather be hurt. Even though I'm getting shot by Degas. And I missed a bone somewhere. At least now we have the theme music. And we're gonna get to fight a version of Freddy. Basically, I could probably just sit back and throw knives. And get a key. So that's it. That's the 80s horror movies that have games based on that I own. Next up, we're going to jump up into like the 90s and the 2000s and break out some of the newest systems that I own. One thing that's kind of curious about it, maybe some of you guys can tell me otherwise, is if LJN owned the licensing for these horror games, like they did with wrestling, they had the license. They made wrestling figures, LJN, WWF, great figures. They did make a Freddy Krueger, very hard rubber kind of statue figure, but I don't know that LJN made anything for Jaws or Friday the 13th back in the day. I kind of wonder why. Maybe you guys know otherwise. I know that there were other Freddy Krueger dolls. I'm not sure if they were LJN from back in that day. I'll have to do a little research. So until then, let's get out and scare some people. Remember, I'm the retro gaming hippie. I don't buy nostalgia because I am nostalgia. See you tonight.